recording now. Hello everyone, this is Nicholas. I've been pretty outspoken about change the channel lately on my blog, Planned All Along, and in general on Twitter. I thought this would be as good as an opportunity now to try making a video about this, mostly because it's a subject that matters to me. You know, I first saw Channel Awesome, back when it was That Guy with the Glasses, in 2011, 2012. I remember watching the Nostalgia Critic a lot on YouTube around 2011. That's when I really discovered the guy, when I discovered Doug Walker. I kind of liked the character, I liked the concept, because he was talking about nostalgic elements, nostalgic movies and TV shows, but mostly movies, that often we may have had fond memories of, which really weren't all that great in retrospect. And, you know, it appealed to people like me, because I'm a 90s kid. I was 8 when 2000 came by. I'm 26 right now, 25, 26. Coming close to 26 actually. So, you know, nostalgia is another thing that I was interested in at the time when I discovered the show. I was, what, 19 years old maybe? 11, 12, 14. I was like 18 or 19. So, you know, young adult. With a lot of fun memories of stuff I used to watch as a child. And so, yeah, the theme around the Nostalgia Critic was very interesting to me for that precise reason. There was definitely a niche there that he was fulfilling. So, yeah, in 2011 I discovered the Nostalgia Critic. I watched a lot of his videos. I watched the anniversary videos that had come out at the time. And, well, okay, at the time there was the Anniversary Brawl, which I never really cared about. Mostly because of the very poor video quality of it. I couldn't find any good version of it. I'm pretty sure there was like some official version, but like I said, I was watching this on YouTube. I was stupid. I think I still am a little stupid actually. I watched Kikassia. I loved Kikassia at the time. It was weird, but at the same time it was pretty funny, and it was like, I really did genuinely consider this to be a good way to launch the interest of people into other producers of the site. Like, I think Angry Joe was there, Wario, very important to mention him. Yeah. Mars Girl, I think, yeah. Linkara. I could go on and on with the list. It is just insane. The important part to realize here is that, well, ultimately, I did see the anniversary specials as a way for producers to get themselves known by being in the same movie as the Nostalgia Critic, which people were attracted to because he was the main draw of his own website, obviously. He was the freaking name of the site, Ask That Guy with the Glasses, from Ask That Guy with the Glasses, which I didn't have much of an interest in. I preferred the NC and Bum reviews personally, but that's old stuff. I also watched Suburban Nights. I didn't have as much of an interest in that one, weirdly enough, because I'm not big on fantasy, honestly. I'm not big like on Lord of the Rings, that sort of stuff, and, well, it wasn't solely fantasy. What basically happened there was they were just dressing up like imaginary characters. I mean, fictional characters. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Sorry, ESL and all. English is my second language, you understand that. Yeah, I'm French-Canadian, tabarnak. And basically, yeah, it was just them going around the woods and filming and being on this grand quest for some mighty, legendary item. Instantly, I knew it had to be a lot of work because filming outdoors, not easy. Really not easy. And especially because they had to walk a lot, and I could tell from watching this video, this anniversary movie, which was over 2 hours long. I mean, Kikassia, like 90 minutes. You know, pretty normal feature-length movie. Uh, Suburban Nights, again, relatively normal, but 2 hours, 20 minutes, that's getting pretty long, especially for the subject material. To Boldly, 3 hours, 30 freaking minutes. That's 210. That's as many as 2110, and that's terrible. It's like gigantic. So yeah, Suburban Nights, I could see the sheer amount of work that had to go into this, especially because everything was bigger, the story was greater, there were many more producers, and from there, well, all I can say is I was impressed. Around the time it was in 2012, what nobody knew, because it was before To Boldly Flee, was that Doug wanted to retire the Nostalgia Critic character in 2012 after To Boldly Flee, and basically the way he did it was, well, I'll go back over that when I'm talking about the Not So Awesome file, which you can see here in the stream. Hopefully it's still working. How can I say that? But before the To Boldly Flee, he still had like 6 or 7 months worth of reviews to do. That's 24, 28 episodes, roughly. So he still had to do episodes of the Nostalgia Critic. He ended with that big, weird episode about Scooby-Doo, which, granted, I thought was pretty clever at the time because he was supposedly reviewing it with past himself and future himself, which, you know, there's something to be done there. It's interesting. I'm not saying the opposite. It's fun, but yeah, the end result, in hindsight, was pretty cringeworthy. I hate the word cringe, by the way. I'm like Linkara about this. I hate the word cringe. I hated how often it was used in 2016. But I digress. But before the Scooby-Doo review in 2012, it looks like the Nostalgia Critic was making as many crossover reviews as he could. I distinctly remember the review he did with Jacob Chapman on Digimon the movie, which is like 50 Shades of Awkward to watch now. What I also remember is the review of Heavy Metal with Diamanda Hagen does? No. I'm pretty sure she's already heard that joke 1,000 times. I'm sorry. I remember a lot of crossover events during 2012 for Nostalgia Critic. Really, so many. I'm not sure that. The big feel was that he was like saying everyone goodbye by having one crossover with each of them. Every person he could do a crossover with, he would during that final year in 2012. The year he thought would be the final year for the Nostalgia Critic. So yeah, it does felt like that. That's what I'm saying. Maybe that was not the intention, but that's how it came across in hindsight after To Boldly Flee happened. And then To Boldly Flee happened. I'm gonna talk more about that, but you know, again, I was young, I was silly, I thought everything he did was great because I was a stupid fan. Stupid, not stupid, but you know how fans can be. And we've all got our obsessions as fans. And you know, since Doug Walker, the Nostalgia Critic, and Channel Awesome were my obsession for a lot of years, ultimately, I love To Boldly Flee. Of course, once you looked into it and saw all the flaws, it was a little harder to say it was good. It really wasn't that great. It was 3 hours long, 210 minutes. Like, if you reach the 200-minute mark, you're already too long for a movie. It's insane. Cut that in 2 or something, I don't know. Find a way. I don't get why so many people today make movies like 2 hours, 30 minutes long so frequently. I don't get it. Like, I could get it for major crossover events, which, granted, that's what To Boldly Flee was. It had, what, 19 different producers? That's gigantic. But, yeah, 3 hours, 30 minutes, no, that's inexcusable. I see it really more as a, how does Linkara call it? Well, it was also a miniseries, basically. It was just made into a movie for the DVD release, but it was aired on the show on the website, like a series. And granted, that's also what happened with all the previous anniversary specials. They were cut into parts. I think they had really 6 parts for Cassia, 7 parts for Suburban Nights, 8 parts for Too Boldly Flee. Yeah, that sounds about right. And yeah, that's how they aired that stuff. I remember Too Boldly Flee had delays because they had like troubles with the audio, with the video files maybe. I don't remember all the details. That's not really important either. For the record, I got my notes because, yeah, it's just a few points that I want to talk about today. So yeah, anniversary specials, to me they were a big deal. Dog Walker was a big deal to me as well. As you can see, actually, I do have Too Boldly Flee on DVD. Yeah, I know. In hindsight, I'm not happy to have it. In fact, I don't think I've watched it like more than twice. And I don't think I've actually had the guts to watch it with the commentary on. Cause yeah, I know the commentary tracks are probably the most interesting part about this thing once you've watched it, cause then you hear a lot of the creative process that went through to Boldly Flee, and you can especially hear the comments of the many actors that are in it. Like, this is insane. That's too many people. That is not normal, my friends. It's too much. That's the reason why Too Boldly Flee is so bloated. It's because, first of all, yeah, it's the critic's vanity project. It's the gigantic send-off for him. So it's trying to be extremely epic, but at the same time, it's trying to still say goodbye to all the people who are a part of it, by having each of them have a distinct fictional character to copy, and a standout scene for them to be in. Like, Spoonie has Turl, Linkara has Mecha-Kara, the Snob has Darth Vader. Those are not exactly scenes, but whatever. Luke at the end as, well, Luke Skywalker. I keep forgetting her current name. I'm sorry. I should not dead name people. It's really not right. It's really, really wrong, but I just can't forget her current name. I just can't remember her current name. I apologize. It's Kinley? Yeah, I think I remember. It's Kinley now. Yeah, Kinley, who cosplayed as Luke Skywalker in Too Boldly Flee. Poe was supposed to be Spock, and he didn't have a lot to do in it, but since he was like some kind of documentarist on the situation into the movie itself, I guess that's what he had his big moment. CR, who helps build some kind of machine to go into dreams and becomes like Cyclops, and there is also Jacob Chapman, who took the role of Edward from Cowboy Bebop, which I haven't seen, unfortunately. Yeah, he was decent in there. Let's see. Angry Joe as Solid Snake. Phyllis. Did he have a role? I don't remember if he had a role. I just remember he died a lot, because apparently that was supposed to be funny. Kyle as Yoda. Kyle Colgren, great guy. Great analyst, great film reviewer. You should check him out on YouTube if you are not already doing that. Because, yeah, he's like upscale. He's brows held high for a reason. He's just that step above when it comes to reviewing artistic movies. But, you know, that's good. That's really good. Lindsay Ellis, the nostalgia chick, as 7 of 9? 7 of 11, yeah. That was classy. I'll go back later on the document about other stuff. Todd in the Shadows, Todd Nathanson as Robotodd. So, no, everybody had their role and a key scene where they excel. Like Angry Joe when he sneaks into the villain's headquarters, which are also a house in space. And Kaylin Saucedo, Mars Girl, accompanies him. Yeah, I'm not gonna go through all of them. Jiwario stands out among others because he has a scene as a he does some fencing. I think it's a Star Trek reference. I'm not sure, but it was pretty funny. I think Sad Panda was a doctor, doctor from Doctor Who. Okay, you know what? I'm not gonna go through all of them. Just know every single character had their character. Every single reviewer had their character. Even critic who was dressed as Judge Dredd for like one scene that went on for far too long. It was bloated, and they also each one of them had their key moment, their standout moment, which I get the intention. It's not a bad idea on paper, but once you really think about it, it just makes for something really way too long. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you can see it, but it's actually autographed. Yeah, I received it in the mail autographed. Before you ask, I've heard stories that a lot of people did not receive their DVDs for Too Boldly Flee after ordering it from the website. I actually did. I was lucky. What basically happened is, yeah, I at first did not actually receive it. What happened is, after a while of it not coming in the mail, I sent them an email, asked what's wrong with this, why am I not receiving this. They asked me my address and stuff. I don't remember all the details. Obviously it was like in late 2012, early 2013. But yeah, ultimately they sent it to me and I received it in the mail, so I did get it. I just had to raise a bit of a fuss about it, but nothing too major. I just like asked them where it was and they took my information and sent it to me. And so this takes us to 2013, or no wait, this takes us to the end of 2012. Were the nostalgia critic gone? Retired? Yeah, long retirement that was. Doug Walker starts working on Demo Reel, which is a very controversial part of his career. For the record, Demo Reel was the story of Donnie Dupre, who was basically nostalgia critic as a fedora wearing director. This is also the first appearance on the site of Malcolm and Rachel, who were hired specifically for that show. They were actually pretty interesting characters. Rachel was pretty great. Malcolm was, you know, generally the straight guy, the straight man to all the silliness going on around him. And for the record, that's one of the best things about comedy, the straight man. For some reason, I just like having a straight man in comedy. It helps balance out the weirdness around. Rob was some kind of weird cameraman who was German. I'm not too sure about, I don't remember all of it because I haven't watched Demo Reel in a long time. But yeah, Demo Reel was bizarre. It's basically Donnie Dupre's quest to get revenge on Hollywood for his creepy childhood by copying the bad movie, the Hollywoodian movies he saw and making them bad, or actually improving them in his own way, which unfortunately makes them even worse than if this had been Be Kind Rewind. Because yeah, everybody did that comparison. Demo Reel is basically Be Kind Rewind without a good story to explain why they're sweeting movies, basically. So yeah, it eventually trailed off into a fairly interesting character arc for Donnie Dupre, where we finally have a reveal about why he was sweeting movies like this. He was just angry at Hollywood for being a child actor whose mother died while he was filming or something. It's copied of Mara Wilson's story, unfortunately. But yeah, it is interesting because I don't think there's been a lot of stories out there that actually touch upon being a child actor who has now grown who has had a bad experience with Hollywood back when they were a child actor, and who is now better at the thing that Hollywood represents nowadays. That's honestly, if Hollywood actually made a movie like this, I'm pretty sure it would be very good. But Doug Walker did did a show about this instead. So yeah, Demoril was met with very, very bad reception, and that's putting it mildly. I first enjoyed it. I saw potential there. Like I said, I liked the concept, the base concept, but yeah, I knew it was extremely flawed, and they had to improve on it a lot. Problem being that the show never really had any traction. They went, I wouldn't say they went off the rails. No, how could I explain this? A lot of viewers came to the site because they wanted to do nostalgia critic, as it's explained later, and they weren't satisfied with Demo Reel. It was new, but it was not like the critic, which alas meant a lot of loss of viewership for the site. Which is what helped Doug realize that he needed a nostalgia critic. He had to bring back that motherfuckers as soon as possible. And I'm sorry, I already swore. But he had to bring back his creation as soon as he could. Oh yeah, I shouldn't have said that, right? Have I? Forget my bad word I said earlier. And so Demo Reel was cancelled after 5 episodes. 6 if you include the so-called finale, in which it's revealed that Danny Dupree was like the nostalgia critic in Limbo, in Purgatory. Purgatory. Everyone's everything in Purgatory. So yeah, he brought back the nostalgia critic in 2013 with an improved formula where he had a lot of sketches, because he couldn't fire Tamara, Rachel, and Malcolm so easily, so quickly. So he just included them in the show, and I actually liked that. I was always aware that the nostalgia critic is not so much a reviewer as he is an entertainer. A lot of the comedy he derives were from sketches and not from the actual review. I wasn't going to watch him for thoughtful commentary, thoughtful critique of stuff, but more because I liked the way he did it, because he had a lot of sketches. He had sometimes pretty novel ways to approach a movie and talk about that movie, which, you know, more props to him for that, I guess. At the time, of course, I liked the clips, the sketches. Yeah, I actually liked the sketches. I liked how he implemented the sketches. Then in 2014, Rachel was replaced by Tamara. Pardon me, again, ESL, don't fail me now. Around that time, I think Doug Walker also released the 4th The Guy with the Glasses DVD, which I have here. I bought this in 2015 at a convention. It was called G-Anime. It was the 4th edition, and Doug Walker was like the biggest guest there. They also had Benjamin Daniel, aka Benzai, who is very popular in France. Yeah, as you can see, I have this now, and I'm stuck with it. Oh. Here's a special thing, okay? I don't know if you guys ever saw the back of this box. Oh, it's autographed too. At the back of this box, it's like one of the most cringe-worthy thing I've ever read. Let's do a dramatic reading. No, you idiot. You watch this. You don't read it. You place the DVD in your player, and then you turn your mind off. Books are for reading. This is for wasting your time. Really? You're still reading? I just started off this description by insulting you, and you're still reading. What are you going to do? Insult me back? I'm miles away, working my ass off, and you're just standing there holding a damn DVD box. Looking quite stupid, I might add. Do you always have your mouth open when you read? I never had my mouth open when reading this, by the way. Tell me honestly, has reading the back of the box ever convinced you to buy a movie? Actually, it has. And yet you still read them, just to give me more work to do. You know what? Eat your grandma! The only reason I have to write this crap is because you're actually bored enough to read it. To hell with it! I'm just going to fill up the remaining space with the Meow Mix song. Enjoy your unimpressive absence of life. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow. Meow 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 meow. I'm not kidding either. You probably can't see it, but yeah, no, I'm not kidding. That is literally what's on the back of the DVD. 18. Warning: this original on this DVD is strongly suggested for people over the age of 18. Oh, jeez, is it like, nah. Confessions, 2 new bomb reviews, new eyes that came with the glasses. Okay, look, I'm not gonna dwell on this more, but yeah. So on 2013, I thought the sketches, the reviews and sketches were pretty good. 2014, I saw a slight decline. I felt there was a slight decline, which has nothing to do with Tamara. She's a very talented actress. She clearly has a lot of fun doing these sketches with Doug and Malcolm and Rob and Jim Jaras, whom I might mention some more, and anyone else who joins them for any of the sketches, like, I don't know, because they were still doing plenty of crossovers. Then 2015 happened. So, this is nothing compared to what we've had in recent days, but the mass exodus of producers took place. We called it the mass exodus at the time because it was like 5 or 6 people leaving all at once. I'm gonna go back on this later in the document, but it's basically when Obscure Slupa, Alison Pregler, had to leave, on very better terms with the company, I might add, and to show his support for her boyfriend Phelan Porteous. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, man. Basically, Phyllis in the on the site left along with her, and there was also Andrew Dickman who left. Then there was Kyle Colgren for a different reason. Afterwards, there was Kyle Colgren, who I mentioned earlier, Lindsay Ellis, and I think Dan Olsen. I should mention that at the end of 2014, they had another talent pickup, and they gathered plenty of new producers, new content producers to help to join their site. And yeah, I'm gonna talk about that a little more later. Give me a second. On new producers of 2014. Okay. Yeah. Oh, but before that, I remember in 2014. The time is January 2014. I think it's on the 21st. I'm not sure. I think somewhere around that time. This is gonna get heavy, folks. I'm sorry. In January 2014, Justin Carmichael, aka Wario, shot himself in the head in a bout of depression. It's an extremely tough topic to talk about. I am not qualified to discuss the topic of depression or suicide. I will just leave it at that, okay? Anything you want to hear about the story, everybody else on the site will say it better than I can. It's just very, very heavy, and I just don't have the qualifications. Hell, at the time, I knew Wario from the anniversary specials, but I didn't know him enough outside of them. I didn't know enough about his show, which I think at the time he was reviewing a lot of Japanese games that were not available in America. It was called You Can Play This, I believe. Yeah. No, but he seemed like one of the fun guys. He seemed like... I know I'm using the 5-man band theory here, but I'm saying he was like the heart of the group. Well, he wasn't the only one who represented the heart of the group, but he was like one of the major guys who represented the heart, if you ask me at least. And it really peeked through during the anniversary specials. You could tell he was like the heart. I'm gonna go back on some of the things that really that came out about the situation, because that's in the document as well. What I will, however, say is right around the time that this happened, Doug Walker released a review of Ghost Dad, the Bill Cosby movie, which is just one long suicide joke. Like, the entire basis of the sketch is that the movie is so bad that the nostalgia critic kills himself, and then he spends the rest of the review supposedly as a ghost, and then he makes Malcolm and Tamara do everything he asks them to under the pretense that it's gonna bring him back, or that it's gonna appease his soul and let him stay a little longer. Bullshit! Okay? There. He also had, well, Doug Walker, out of character, also had a pretty worrisome tirade during a review of an Adventure Time episode, I think. Adventure Time, or was it Avatar? I'm not sure. I don't remember. I don't think I've seen that tirade, but yeah, around that time. It was a tirade about how he should just kill himself or something. I really don't know, but it was apparently very awkward. Yeah. And I don't think you could have asked for a worse timing for either of those things. Okay, he doesn't control timing, obviously. He didn't know this could have happened, but considering what had just happened with Jewario, with Justin Carmichael, and the main topic of his newest review, Ghost Dad, which is one long suicide joke, I strongly believe he should have postponed that review. Like, keep it made, have no NC for that week, and just post it later. Or maybe never. Never would have been better, but that couldn't happen. No, it was posted anyway. On the exact same week. Like, you gotta get some nostalgia critic out, my friend. You gotta. Yeah, but it's like it's a big suicide joke, and no, you gotta. And that was very awkward. And I think it didn't help for anything that would come out afterwards. 2014 was also the year of when Patreon began. I'm gonna go back on that later. The year when adverts, mid-rolls, I think, yeah, that's the name, started. So yeah, again, that's all in the document. That's like, whoa, 73 pages. Yeah, they've updated it lately. It was at first 69 pages, and now it's 73. So they've added 4 pages of stuff, of stories, from at least 2 more producers, I believe. Only 2? I think 2 or more, I'm not sure. I think some of them also added little more details to some of their parts, but I'm not sure. So, 2015 comes around. Alison Pregler, Florent Porteous, Andrew Dickman, Kyle Colgren, Lindsay Ellis, and Dan Olsen leave. We are happy to announce. It went like this on the site. We would like to announce the departure of names of these producers. They also misspell Phelan's family name wrong. They say Porteous, Porteus, even though it's supposed to be an O in there. They so much didn't care about their producers, they didn't even bother to get their names right. I swear. And that's small potatoes compared to other stuff that will happen there. And around that time, in 2015, Doug was scheduled to appear at a convention in Quebec called G-Anime. It was the 4th edition, and like I mentioned earlier, Doug was the biggest guest at that convention that year. Because it was still a pretty small, growing convention, that's why. It was getting big. And I think his mere presence was enough to boost the numbers of the convention when it came to visitors. Because that's how big he was. Doug was huge at the time. In 2015, yeah, he was still big. He had lost some fans, but he was still a pretty big deal. And, I remember meeting him in person. I remember him being very amicable, very friendly. Of course, he was swarmed by fans on the first day, but sometimes afterwards it was a little calmer. He was sitting right next to Benjamin Daniel, whom I could talk to in French. So that was less of a worry. I didn't have any ESL problems there. It was AFL then. No, FFL. French first language, yeah. Whatever. And I remember Doug Walker, I told him, yeah, I didn't receive too boldly flee when I ordered it. He asked, oh, really? Would you like to have it then or something? And I said, no, I ended up receiving it, that's okay. You did a good job there, I got it, don't worry. And I also remember buying, like I said, that year with the glasses, part 4, volume 4, yeah, that's it. I can words right. So there's that. I also distinctly remember some of the stuff he participated to during the convention. There was a game called Skeletons in the Closets, in which basically there were 3 people in who spoke English who participated to that panel. They were all sitting in pretty armchairs and all that stuff. It was beautiful. Basically there were 4 stories. They had to pick of the 4 stories, 3 were true. Each true story belonged to one of the 3 people in the chairs, of the 3 participants. 1 was false. The job of the viewers was to first figure out the false story, and then figure out which story belongs to which person. It's an interesting concept. And the catch was that all 3 people in the chairs were not... It wasn't their best interest to tell a lie. It wasn't their best interest to pick a story that is not theirs, so that they could then invent something, you know, like improv. They could improv a story that could seem believable, because the idea was to mislead the public into figuring out the wrong stuff, into not being able to figure out what belongs to who. And it was fun, you know. Gotta give it to Doug. Gotta give him credit. He's really, you know, when he participates to stuff at conventions, he's there to have fun, clearly. Or so it seems, at least, whenever you're around him. And, you know, he also, I think, he riffed live on the Super Mario Brothers movie, the 1993, I think. Yeah, the old movie. Using YouTube, because at the time the movie was available on YouTube. I don't know if it still is. I remember I used that exact video to make my review of that movie for my blog, Planned All Along. Shameless plug. And yeah, again, that also was fun. Sometime later during the convention, he's not done signing stuff, but clearly everybody who could see him on the first day had already done so. So, you know, I approached him again, just strike up conversation. Hey, Doug, your work has inspired me to make my own blog, and, you know, you're an inspiration, you're a good entertainer. Eventually, I do bring up the situation about Allison and Phelan, and tell them, you know, it's getting us fans a little worried. We'd like it if you could at least address that, because, you know, it's kind of bad for your PR, for the look of the company. We're worried about the site. We'd like if it could keep on growing and improving, but this is a hot potato and it could be risky to keep it that way for too long. For the record, I studied PR at university. Not because I want to be in public relations, but because I want to be a communications guy, and mostly as a journalist or a reporter, and that would mean having to interact with PR people a lot, so knowing their job and what they do was pretty important. Anyway, I know what PR is about, and I told him immediately. Basically, what I told him is, man, you gotta get some PR out for that situation, or else it's gonna blow up in your face badly. Gee, times change so much, don't they? So yeah, I told him that, and he told me he'd look into it and maybe make an announcement. So the convention is over. I come back home. I think it's too late for me to get on the computer or anything. When I arrive on Sunday night, I wake up the next Monday, turn on the computer, go to Doug's Facebook page, which I visited regularly at the time, Same with Rob's, because it was always interesting. They had some good insight on their videos. And I find out that I'm blocked from posting to his Facebook page. Which, admittedly, it is small potatoes compared to what others have been through. But it was significant. It was significant for a fan like I. What basically happened is Doug basically blocked anyone who even mentioned the controversy to him. Again, how times change, don't they? And he did let a small message about this, but he basically went, I don't want this page to be a place for drama, so I'm not gonna dwell on it much, and unfortunately it means I'm gonna prevent some people from posting if that means preventing drama from popping up on here. So, some bullshit reason. No, okay. To his credit, it's not entirely bullshit, but the way he did it is such gigantic bullshit. And I was really mad at him. I mean, at the time I understood somewhat what he meant, but Christ, I had no plans of bothering him on Facebook about this ever again. I had told him in person. That was more than enough. So, yeah, I was pretty angry. I kept watching the Nostalgia Critic a little longer. I think I stopped in July 2015, yeah. Because at the time, Doug was becoming big on doing clipless reviews. This is an idea that I hated. Because they're still reviews. He's reviewing something. It may be Mad Max Fury Road, or Pixels, or Hocus Pocus, I think. Or Jurassic World, usually stuff that is still in theaters and hasn't come out on DVD, so he cannot use footage. Mostly that sort of thing. The idea being that he remembers the movie, he builds sketches based on the movies, and from there on, what he does, basically, is riff on the movie with the sketches, while telling us his review of said movie. Unfortunately, this means you don't actually have the footage of the movie. So if he says like, oh, that special effect was so bad, and you don't actually see the special effect, you see their version of the special effect, which is even cheaper than the original. He's like making a parody and reviewing his parody instead of reviewing the film proper, and that doesn't work. It's like, by comparison, it's as if Angry Joe coded his own game, which was a parody of an actual game he played, and then he reviewed his coded game. Or it's as if Linkara wrote and drew an entire comic book that is a parody of a comic book he reviewed before, like, I don't know. Imagine that instead of reviewing the actual All-Star Batman and Robin number 10, he actually reviewed a comic book that is him basically doing all the panels, drawing them himself, and inserting his own witty commentary into the bubbles. Witty commentary because, again, the idea was to make it a parody, so a lot of lampshade hanging and stuff. And no, that doesn't work, man. That doesn't work. The Pixels review made me so mad. I hated that review so badly, I stopped watching afterwards. I looked a little, I think I watched the Hocus Pocus review because I was intrigued by this new clipless review that he was forcing onto people, even though that movie had been out for a long time, and he just assumed everyone knew the movie, which again, that's not the case. You can review any movie, but it's guaranteed you're gonna have people out there who haven't heard of it. In his early years, Nostalgia Critic has reviewed a lot of movies I had never heard of. Alaska, North, okay, a lot of movies basically, and movies that I would not know about, so I needed the footage to understand what he was saying about them. A parody wouldn't cut it. Like, if he was doing a sketch that parodied the movie on the side, that was okay. But he was not going to review that parody, he was going to review the movie itself. The clipless reviews were just sketches that he reviewed in lieu of the actual movie, and that was bullcrap. I'm gonna be saying that a lot today. Yeah, I thought this was absolutely horrible. So, what to do afterwards? Well, yeah. With my review of Pixels, I stopped watching. I actually threw a dig at that in my own review of Pixels, because I posted one on my blog. Basically going, oh, don't worry, I'm gonna have plenty of images from the movie. It's not like I'm gonna make my own parody and then review that. Because which critic with any self-esteem would ever do something like this? Ooh, burn. Yeah, that burn is not as good as I thought it would be, but it's written better than that. So basically what happens, afterwards I stopped watching Nostalgia Critic. I'm pretty far removed from Channel Awesome after that. If I watch people, it's anybody else. Linkara, Angry Joe, Brad Jones from time to time, because I quite like midnight screenings. Who else? A lot of people. Not always the same people. Sometimes I would go to somebody else. Sometimes I would go to someone else. I would watch whoever I wanted to watch, basically. But the Nostalgia Critic was no part of that for a long while. So 2016 passes by, 2017 comes by, and now we're in 2018 with the massive exodus of producers following the document that I have right here on my screen at the moment. Not so awesome. The one you can see, like, right here. Yeah. Is that how you do that stuff? Yeah. I'm not used to this. It shows, doesn't it? And you know what? I'm glad people are leaving the site, because it's a dumpster fire, as you're gonna see soon enough. I wanted to make a little bit of a parenthesis for the people I actually follow. Because there's a lot of producers on the site. A lot of people that I'm also forgetting about. Just to tell you, the people I'm following outside of Channel Awesome, now, there's, I didn't watch a lot of Spoonie. Spoonie, I didn't watch a lot of his stuff. My favorite video series about Spoonie was Counter Monkey, in which he talks about old D&D experiences, tabletop RPG experiences, and also gives advice and tips on how to run a successful campaign, stuff like that, and sometimes oddities like an entire tabletop RPG about wrestling, or one about basically a Christian D&D campaign with, I think, Jesus or something. Linkara, the comic book reviews, I like them. Brad Jones as the cinema snub. Who else? Angry Joe, his game reviews, I still go back to them from time to time. Kyle Colgren with Browse Held High. Honestly, I did not watch them in a long time, but I came back to them in 2017, and in late 2017, basically when things were starting to blow up a little. And yeah, I was very happy to rediscover him. Lindsay Ellis, her video essays are fantastic. Todd in the Shadows, I've always watched. Always. Love the guy. Great music reviews. Who else? Okay. Suede, who does mostly reviews of anime, but currently he's basically doing one episode for every single Pokemon episode in existence. That's 800. And he does like one per week, so it's gonna take him like 16 years. Good luck with that, man. Good luck. Oh my goodness. Well, I hadn't realized how red this whole thing was. It already looks like it's outdated. Like, you know how some DVDs sometimes take a tint of red after a while since they've been like away from the light for too long? Yeah, it already looks like that. It's not even 5 years old. Oh, okay, it's not even 6 years old. It already looks like it's been away from the light for like 10 years. What's wrong with that? What's up with that? Whatever. Okay. So my comment on the exodus, the mass exodus of producers. First of all, I'm glad they're all leaving. That's definitive. It's after everything revealed in this document, you too will be happy that they've actually left. It's especially surprising because a lot of newer contributors have also left lately. Subject with a Camera, Rocked Reviews, Luke Spencer, The Dom, who does Lost in Adaptation, so many. Ask Lovecraft, Lyman Kessler, I hope I'm pronouncing this right. You know, a lot of people who had joined the site recently, and a lot of people who had been on the site for a long time as well, whether it's Louis Lava, Glencara, Suede, William Dufresne. It's a French name. I'm gonna pronounce it like a French. Dufresne. Is that okay? Film Brain, who I keep forgetting talking about. I'm sorry. Todd has left. Like, all the people on this DVD cover, all the people on the cover of To Live Flee, I think there's only like 3 or 4 still in the site, and one of them is Doug. There's like, I don't know, I think there's like Brad, Angry Joe, and I think that's it. It's crazy, it's insane. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah. At the moment, I think they're down to like 12 or 13 shows that are not from the Made by Doug, by which I mean the other producers. And they were 40 some time ago. But now there's like 13 producers. How the mighty have fallen. Anyway, yeah. It's a big story, and the worst part in all this is how every single producer who has left the site lately, back then and now, back in 2015 and now, have had their content, all of their content, removed like this. Like this. Swiftly. In a snap of a finger, all their content gone. Linkara's 400 plus videos, not to mention everything he does aside from that. And everyone else's videos, everyone who leaves, boom, gone. You wanted exposure? Ha, you're not on the site anymore. Fuck you. Yeah, how much bullshit is exposure when you promise to keep your producers around, but then you delete all of their stuff from that site so that they can't even prove they used to be on the site, when it's time for them to show that they actually have had exposure from that site. Yeah, that's odd, isn't it? I know, right? And basically, this document came out at 69 pages long last week on April 2nd. And ever since, I think the management, the upper management at Channel Awesome has responded with an apology. And to call it an insult is an insult. It's worse than an insult. It's like, you know when I talked about PR nightmare? That's what they have right now. They're going down. They are dying. Channel Awesome is going down. Is the Nostalgia Critic dying? I would dare say not yet, because he's losing about, I think he's been losing 5,000 subscribers every day for the last 3 or 4 days, maybe 4 or 5 days. And that seems a lot in the grand scheme of things, but he has 1 million subscribers. That's not even 1/20 of the entire viewer base. And obviously, some people are always gonna stick by him. Other people are gonna... obviously, the more people stay around, the more people unsubscribe from him, the more people are left subscribed to him, the less people are left subscribed to him who may see the controversy and subscribe and unsubscribe later. My point what I'm trying to say here, sorry again, ESL, the longer this goes, those dwindling numbers are probably gonna come back from a fall to maybe decreasing a lot less faster, a lot less quickly, because eventually it's gonna be down to so few subscribers. Like maybe it's gonna go down under 1 million. Sure, why not? You know, that's guaranteed to happen by this point. I give him like 10 days tops. He's gonna be under 10 million subscribers now soon. But the truth to that is, eventually the people who are sticking by him are gonna stay there, are gonna stay subscribed, and there's probably a lot of people as also who aren't, well, the less people stay subscribed to him, the less people will be leaving every new day that comes, basically. It's just normal. So yeah, Channel Awesome is having a complete and utter PR nightmare right now, and sincerely, too bad for them. Okay, just give me a second. I've got a little something to do. Okay. I'm coming back. There we go. Okay. So now we're talking about the document. Not so awesome. I'm sorry. My mind is trailing to places right now. It's my first time doing this, so I'm always wondering if I'm doing this right or anything. I kind of wished I could get some feedback, honestly. It's my first time doing anything like this. The way I'm going to approach this document is peculiar, because as an ex-fan of Channel Awesome, I believe I had heard a lot of those stories in 2015 or previous to 2015, and some stories are completely new to me. I'm not going to live read the entire document. It could take 2 or 3 hours easily to do that, and also I tend to speed up my speech a lot when I'm talking, especially when I'm reading stuff. But yeah, I'm just gonna go around checking the various stories that have popped up in the document and telling whether I think they're new, whether I have already heard about them thanks to the controversy in 2015, or whether they're completely new to me, or that they were new when the document actually came out. Because the way this document started is, I think it was Alison Pregler who was responding to a tweet about really bad filming experiences, on-set experiences, and she was talking about the review of A Talking Cat that she did with Doug Walker, which apparently didn't go well. Yeah, I saw that video. Yeah. And basically what happened is, from there on, all of the bad experiences when it comes to filming and management have popped out after Allison. Some of them told by Lewis, some others told by other producers. Kaylin Saucedo, aka Mars Girl, wasn't there. 19 plus producers were in there. It was like the Too Boldly Flee of complaints towards Channel Awesome. It was gigantic, ginormous. You could make a long documentary out of that. Okay, Not So Awesome. A record of events while working for that guy with the glasses. Version 2.0, April 7th, 2018. And I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a 3.0 if this keeps up. Okay, so it was recently asked what their intention was with the document, what their end goal was. I think it differs from people to people. As Alison Pregler, Obscurus Lupa, explained, some people just want Channel Awesome to recognize the harm they've done and apologize for it. Other people want to see the biggest head of the Channel Awesome fired, Mike Michaud. Look, pronounce it however you want. I know because it's close, it's pretty much a French family name that you can pronounce it Michaud, but at the same time the English producers all call him Michaud, so I'm stuck between one of the two. I think I'm gonna go with Michaud because that's how everyone calls him, and besides I'm speaking English right now, so I'm gonna go with Michaud. Plus it gives me an opportunity to say McChode, which is really which is something I didn't come up with. It's something the producers come up with when they actually joined together during a stream by Mars Girl to talk about the situation with fans, and yeah, that was a very fun experience actually. But yeah, they came up with McChode, and that was really hilarious. McFraud is another one, yeah. You're gonna see. After I've read through this, Mike Michaud, you're gonna hate the guy. You're gonna hate Doug and Rob too, but not as much as Mike Michaud. Okay, so forward. That's legalese right there. It's important, but honestly, I think you should just go check the doc on Google. You can find it. Just type in "Not So Awesome" and like Channel Awesome or something, and you're gonna find it. That's not a problem. You can find it easily on Twitter as well. Maybe not through the change the channel hashtag because it's getting pretty crowded in there. But yeah, you can find the document if you look. It's very easy to find. Okay, contents. Alison Pregler, Kaylin Saucedo, Holly Brown, very important person. Lewis Lovog, William Dufresne, Jacob Chapman, Benjamin Daniel, John Burkhardt, Dr. Gonzo, Leon Thomas, Sean Falls, Beth Elderkin, C. Farah, Topher Ames, Anne America, Tom White, Lindsay Ellis, Anonymous, Iron Liz, Leslie Rice. Fan document was removed for very obvious reason. It had become basically a place for fans to air their grievances towards everybody on the site or to hate on anyone, and it was not the idea. The idea was to complain about management, which meant Mike Michaud, Rob Walker, and well, Doug Walker as well, because everybody has met Doug and thought he was a cool guy or something. That's the idea, basically. Only those three really have to be on the receiving end of our wrath right now. And you know, all of these people are telling their stories, and honestly, they confirm each other's stories frequently, so I don't have any reason to believe that what they're saying is false. It would be a massive conspiracy otherwise, and I don't believe in conspiracies. Don't attribute to malice what can attribute it to stupidity, is what I'm trying to say here. And stupidity, there's a lot of that in the management at Channel Awesome. Okay, so not all of them have important things to add to this, but yeah, a lot of them like just confirm what others have seen. Some of them have darker stories to tell. I'm gonna go over that. Alison Pregler. Not employed by CA, I knew that. Yeah, Mike Michaud, that name came out a lot around 2015, precisely because of what had been revealed. Mike Ellis, too. Bargo Dranamrayo, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Unfortunately, we haven't heard anything from him since. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I remember him from the second and third anniversaries, and he seemed like a pretty decent guy. According to this document, he's not perfect, but you know, kind of like a dog thing. He seemed like a relatively decent guy. Like, they say he was one of the main three creators of the site. There was Mike Michaud, Mike Ellis, and Bargo Dranamrayo, and considering what we hear about Michaud here, and what we hear about Mike Ellis in some parts of the document, yeah, Bargo really did seem like the better character, like the better one of the three. Then there's Greg Michaud, apparently, who's Mike's brother. That's a different thing. Mike owns the IP of the Nostalgia Critic. I think that came up in 2015. I think. Women being confronted by Mike Ellis or Mike Michaud for something a guy they knew did, and basically blaming women for things that guys do. Women blaming, and in general just how could I put that? Just general misogyny is unfortunately something that did come out last in 2015 when Obscurus Lupa left, or Alison Pregler. I should really just say Alison Pregler, because the Obscurus Lupa days are over. Obviously, I don't think she'd want to be associated to that username. Like, we have to refer to the username because she used to be the character reviewer, but yeah, I don't think she wants to be associated with it. It's only for the express use of reminding people that this used to be her role, basically. I don't know if I'm clear about that. Yeah, I'm gonna try to say Alison Pregler from now on. I'm gonna try to talk about most of these people not by their usernames when they were on the site, but by their actual name, if it's posted, obviously. So yeah, misogyny from Mike Michaud. Unfortunately, I had heard of that, but yeah, that's not good. Okay, Mike would frequently try to bully women. Sean and Holly's sections. Channel Awesome was aware of sexual harassment from Mike Ellis for at least 2 years and did nothing. I had heard stories of sexual harassment about Channel Awesome, because Lindsay Ellis talked about that on a blog post. I don't remember what it was. I think it was called something like The Art of Dodging Blowjobs. I don't recall. But basically what happened around the first year anniversary, Lindsay Ellis was slut-shamed by someone working on the anniversary. She never said who it was. She mentioned some names, mostly dude producers, who had heard the rumors and did not necessarily try to confirm that with her, but asked her side of the story, basically. So, you know, they at least had some brains there. It's unfortunate, but yeah, there were things of sexual harassment back then. A lot of it too, and you know, the fact that they were still a new website. It was their first year anniversary for a reason. So it was still a very new website, and to me it's just mind-blowing that they knew what Mike Ellis was doing for at least 2 years, and they didn't act on it to fire him quicker than that. Like, I'm not even talking about that other producer or person affiliated to Channel Awesome somehow that Lindsay Ellis is talking about. Like, we don't know the name of that person, that guy probably. I mean, not to assume, but probably a guy. Because, it's quite clearly a guy, if I recall. But yeah, she doesn't say who it is, so let's not dwell on that too much, but it's important to note. But yeah, Mike Ellis was not fired for 2 years, even though there were clearly problems with him. When he was finally let go, it was for other legal reasons. They were also aware of a prominent producer who was grooming female fans and coercing them into sex and failed to take action for years. Yeah, that's... You know, it's almost weird, but this document is written almost like a story, like a cohesive story, because I feel like that's foreshadowing, because they come back to this for an entire section later in the document. Much, much later. The story of Anonymous 1, who's almost at the end. So that's foreshadowing. It's only mentioned in passing here, because we come back to the story later. And it's just, this would make anyone do a double take once they read it. Sexual grooming. Again, I don't think I'd be qualified to talk about that, but it's very severe allegations. It's very... like, those are big allegations. It's gigantic. Like, you don't just go around and pretend that it's going on, but when it isn't. But when it is, it has to be called out. Obviously, it should lead to someone getting fired. You don't do sexual grooming. It's not... How could I say that? I don't know every law of the American system. I'm freaking Canadian. We have different stuff. But yeah, what I'm getting out of this is that someone was doing something maybe not entirely illegal, but definitely morally reprehensible and just not okay. And something that should have gotten him fired quickly. But it didn't go that way because, look, they were aware, but they failed to take action for years. Seriously. Okay, all communication was done via Skype group chat. Bad idea. We did not communicate through email. And Michaud would disappear for long periods of time. We knew that because that's one of the core aspects of Allison's gripes with the company. You see, when she was fired, it's because she had failed to respond to them for about 15 minutes, because she was out filming. But when they had anything to ask to Mike Michaud, it could take hours, weeks, days, hours, weeks, hours, days, weeks, or months before they got an answer. And she was fired because she didn't respond for 15 fucking little minutes. What the fuck? Yeah, this pissed me off at the time. This pissed me off badly. But, yeah. Okay, so, the only people we were told to talk to were Michaud, Rob, and Holly. For the record, Rob is... I'd argue he's not quite as bad as Mike Michaud, but he's a close contender. He's a close second. Like, Doug has his own problems. We're gonna go back on that later, but... Rob is not good. He's a bad dude. He's a bad director. Bad company director, if I can put it that way. And yeah, considering Michaud and Rob were the only two left, as they say here, when Holly was fired, it was just those two. Mike was so against being involved with or doing anything that he eventually became silent CEO. Which means it was just Rob, who also didn't want the job. Everyone in management in that website did not want to have anything to do with the other producers unless it was for money or for a crossover or something like that. They didn't want to talk to the people they had hired on their site to produce content and to bring in viewers and add revenue. That's bad. That's really bad. Doug is not considered anything but talent, yet frequently is part of business calls. You see, that's what I'm saying. Doug he's not entirely innocent in this, but he's not as bad as the other two. He's bad in a different way. He doesn't take the major decisions, from what I've understood, But if there is a major decision to be taken, he's usually the breaking vote. Like, he's gonna side with the producers. No. He's going to side with the direction of Channel Awesome. He's gonna side with Rob and Mike Michaud. Because Mike owns the Nostalgia Critic IP and the intellectual property of the NC. So, if he wants to have to have his job, he has to side with the people who are directly above him. And unfortunately, that means putting aside everyone who works beneath him. That is, all the other producers. Sorry. My apologies. They were so unaware of anything going on with the site that Rob thought someone asking for an interview was a producer. That is just dumb. Communication was the worst, yes. Blistered Thumb producers. I didn't have much of a link to Blistered Thumbs at the time. I was not interested in the site because I could watch everything on Channel Awesome anyway. Or on YouTube, I think. But yeah, apparently it was pretty bad when they shut down that site. Several producers were let go without being informed. You don't do that. You don't do that. When I joined the site, I was given a list of rules to follow. Don't post hate speech, so on, you know. Yeah, that makes sense, but the section saying where to find the company policy was labeled coming soon. Yeah. I didn't know that one before reading the document. At a later point in time, when I'm creating radio reviews, I'm randomly told I need to ask them permission to do new shows. They had a rule in place for events such as filming a new show with your friend as the host, for example, but not anything like what I was doing. So I asked Rob for permission, and he seems to have no idea why I'm asking. So let me get this straight. Not only does he make the big decisions around the company, but he doesn't even know the rules he has set up for it. He or Mike, the higher management has set up for it. Pardon me. There. I should probably do that a few more times. Years later, Fallon is attempted to find out this list exists because no one who came to the site before me got these rules or were told about them. The rules were arbitrarily enforced, and usually if they wanted an excuse to get rid of someone anyway. At one point, they sent a written reprimand to Welshie that was meant for Sad Panda because they couldn't tell the difference between them. Here's a hint. Welshie is Welsh. Sad Panda is French. That's all, just... for God's sake. So yeah, oh, that one. Phelan received a reprimand for tweeting a joke making fun of the demo reel twist by saying he was going to reveal Phyllis was Sub-Zero the whole time. He was told to apologize to Doug personally. My feelings were hurt. You gotta apologize to me. Says the guy who made a bad autism joke and so many bad transphobic jokes lately. By lately I mean like 2014, 2015. Doug knew nothing tech-wise to the point of intense frustration. Yeah, that had been discussed around Too Boldly Flee, and in 2015 when Allison and Phelan left. Problem with Doug Walker is he went into this thinking he knew how to do everything, and he didn't. And so when he was caught by surprise with things that he didn't know that he had to do, his basic response would be, that's alright. I'll wing it. Or, you know, he would always find a way to blame it on others. It was never his fault. It was never the Walker's fault. That's actually the reason why I'm afraid of going into video reviews now, because I know my content is not gonna start off good. And I know I'm gonna improve with time if I do stick to it, but unfortunately what that also means is that if I can't figure out some things, or if I'm called out on my on unprofessionalism, there's not much I can do about that. It's I know where my strengths are. My strength is in writing stuff. It's not in being in front of the camera and doing something silly. Look, I haven't done a lot of silliness today, and actually it's the first time I'm doing this. So you know, I'm really not used to doing this sort of thing. So I don't do it too often, precisely. During my earlier days on the site, we'd have to fight to get slots for the day, but especially during the holidays. Doug proceeds to hog the slots with his lazy Disney-December vlogs. Yeah. They considered conventions a waste of time, despite the contradictory belief that they should do all the advertising locally. So they hated that we went to MagFest because of a bad experience Doug had there once, despite the fact we all paid to go there on our own dimes. Okay, these producers pay for their tickets, they pay to go there. The higher-ups of Channel Some have no fucking deal telling them they can't go to X convention or X convention. No, it's none of their fucking business. They never wanted to pay anyone. Yeah, that's true. They were wishing, yeah, I heard about that. You're paid in exposure! Cause that's... Oh yeah, cool. How much does this bread cost? 200 exposure? Oh, right, exposure is not money, I have forgotten. Hey, how much is my rent this year? 43,000 exposure, I think? Yeah, sounds about right. Oh, right, exposure is not money. My rent this month, god damn it. ESL, don't fail me now. I would love to go watch that movie, but unfortunately, I don't have 1,000 exposure on me for the movie ticket at the theater. Fucking exposure, man. Okay, pub quiz hotshot, Indiegogo. For the record, I actually watched one episode of Pub Quiz Hotshot, and it looked so unprofessional. It looked so cheap. It was ridiculous. Like, you could at least tell some of the effort that went into like demo reel or the new Nostalgia Critic, or any of that. But Pub Quiz Hotshot, man, that was cheap. Cheaper than cheap. It was insane. Okay, so yeah, they had to be told to have prizes by Holly for a game show. The game show was Michaud's idea and no one else wanted to do it. Understandable. He's the kind of guy that it's my way or the highway. People had to do it apparently. Yeah, I get that. Indiegogo rewards are 6 months late. Yeah. Oh, another important thing. March 2015, a year and a half since the show was promised. After Indiegogo threatens to investigate, Michaud forces Doug and Rob to release the first episode of Pub Quiz Hotshot, which they're all embarrassed about. After 12 episodes, the show is cancelled because it legally covers them as an effort to fulfill their Indiegogo goals. Awesome Comics begins production using the old game show set in March 2016 and ends March 2017. The gaming gauntlet never materializes. So, you know, they tried. Bless their heart, they tried. Yeah, that was $90,000 for 12 episodes of a game show. And some slight improvements to the Nostalgia Critic set. That's awesome, isn't it? Aren't you glad your money went there? This could be an episode of Kick Scammers. Yeah, that's a show on YouTube by DJ Slopes, I think. Yeah, Kick Scammers. Look it up. It's interesting, and it's very sad. The anniversaries. Okay, she doesn't seem to have much to say about Kikasia. We were paid in exposure and a free trip with our friends. Yeah. CA paid for travel, lodge, and meals when they were doing filming hours. Otherwise, we were on our own. They had to be told to have water on. They had to be told to have water on set. They didn't even know the basics of having a set. It means you gotta have some water and stuff there between takes, god damn it. This was the only thing they asked us to sign contracts for, which covers such things as injury, liability, etc. The contract also stated that any crossovers we filmed during the production would go to them to help recoup costs. So yeah, they were asked to work while they were there for money that would go to them, to the management, to recoup the cost of this event. Yeah. Suburban Nights. Yeah. This is where I say that Doug is bad in a different way. From now on, from this point on, we can see that Rob Walker and Mike Michaud are on the management side, and they're very bad at it, and they're very nasty to other producers about it. But Doug Walker is nasty in a different kind of way, in the clueless artist kind of way. Very much like Tommy Wiseau, basically. He's an asshole without realizing it. He keeps asking for stuff to be done, and when that doesn't work out, he always finds a new way to make it only slightly better at times, but most of the time it just makes it worse. So, okay, let's go for this. Doug's style of directing is to tell us to do it more like him. If we pointed out we wouldn't deliver a line like that, he'd tell us, "We don't try it both ways!" So he could use the take of us doing it his way. When trade both ways became a running joke. So you see, problem here is that Doug Walker refused to imagine that the producers would be telling the lines in the way they wished to tell them. It had to be his way. Again, in this case, it's more on the artistic side of things. Because Mike Michaud may have wanted to, you know, to do Pop Quiz Hotshot, but ultimately that wasn't the management side. Doug Walker's problems involve the artistic side of things. Again, loosely art. It was embarrassing when we were filming in the park and Doug would start giving directions to passers-by like they were part of the production. Dude, they're not hired. They're passers-by. They just pass by. Dickhead. As it was done with Kikassia, they only have one camera with Rob at the helm. And let me remind you, in Suburban Nights, they were split in two teams that were going their separate ways to find some kind of item, legendary item. So they had only one camera at first. They borrowed Todd's camera because it was the same model, so, and an SD card. So you know, that's good. They eventually agreed to have two cameras. Damn good thing, yeah. Because of this, Liz never signed the contract. Oh yeah, Iron Liz accompanied Linkara, who was her boyfriend at the time. So yeah, she accompanied him at Suburban Nights, and eventually became a part of the workforce, I guess, around the you know, and making everything work around them. But yeah, that didn't go well. She never signed a contract. When filming a stunt with Orlando, her knee is bashed in, and they correspond to signing a contract that says they aren't liable. Now, there had been stories of people getting hurt on the sets. Allison doesn't mention Kikassia, but apparently Rob was hurt during Kikassia. Someone else was hurt too. I don't remember who. But yeah, that was not fun, apparently. She doesn't want to do it because it would give them ownership of whatever she'd filmed there. 4 people total were injured during the movie, and no safety precautions were ever put in place. Liz and Bennett were both hurt during stunts with Orlando, and Orlando himself landed on his neck wrong. Landed on his neck. Ouch. This was included in the blooper reel. Oh good, because that's definitely the kind of blooper you post in a blooper reel, right? People getting hurt for real. No. That's always called a blooper reel. Elisa was taped to the wall in a cross position, and because she was there for so long, she nearly passed out. Wow. The weather was cold, and some people like Ben had pretty flimsy costumes. Oh yeah, I remember. Benjamin Daniel was bare-chested in April in America. In Northern America. So yeah. Currently, it's April here. There's fucking snow outside. But I'm in Quebec. It's the great Canadian North. This is a little lower, but still pretty cold in April. Not the time to be shirtless outside. No, maybe at the end of the month it's a little better, but not the time yet. They mentioned somewhere that 8-Bit Mickey also had a had a costume where his legs were exposed because he was playing Peter Pan. So yeah, that's another thing. I think Doug Walker's legs were exposed because then you can entire joke of him being in his underwear under his Link costume and nope. Okay. Too boldly flee. Oh, we're getting there. It's the tipping point between maybe they'll change and this is never going to get better. Completely different experience reading the script versus Suburban Night. This felt long. Again, 210 minutes. Self-indulgent. It was the Doug Walker's vanity project. Sexist. We're gonna go back on that. And mean. Cause yeah, I think it was pretty mean-spirited at times, yeah. Scenes that were just quoting other movies verbatim were embarrassing. Yeah, apparently that happened a lot. The excessive scenes with Zod and Turtle were infuriating and ate up time they could have focused on the producers and not more of Dog shtick. Yeah, he could have cut some of that. I see why he would do that, because honestly people love a good funny villain, but at the same time, man. I never received a Too Boldly Flee DVD. Neither did many fans who bought them because they messed up the orders and it was never fixed. Again, I got mine, but only after I raised a fuss and actually contacted them. And it still took some time to arrive too, but it did eventually come to my mailbox. So I'm happy about that. Or I was at the time. The crossovers were not required to recoup cost. Okay, they wouldn't have had time anyway. I heard about that. The scripts were given out until the 11th hour because Doug and I were fighting over it the whole time. We barely had time to read it, and most people didn't. We only had about a week to film this 4-hour movie. 1 week. For 3 hours and a half. Every day Doug scheduled 2 days worth of work because he assumed having proper equipment and crew would make things go faster. No, not how that works. It doesn't speed things up. It slows things down. But it slows things down in such a way that you're gonna have a better product eventually because the quality is up because you have an entire crew to help you. But it's not gonna go faster, on the contrary. Oh yeah, I think I had heard about that too. No one was informed that Doug was kicking out the nostalgia critic. Most of us found out only if we read the scripts. And a lot of producers apparently had no idea, or a lot of producers only heard about that really while they were reading the script or while they were filming. And it raises a problem because, like I said, the big draw of Channel Awesome was the nostalgia critic. So without the nostalgia critic to lead this entire thing, yeah, something was wrong there. Without the nostalgia critic on the site, the entire site's viewership would tumble down. But Doug didn't seem to realize that. Again, I like to compare Doug to the Capitol, the residents of the Capitol in the Hunger Games. Imagine Mike Michaud is Coriolanus Snow, President Snow. Rob is pretty much everyone who works around Snow, very close proximity. Doug is the resident of the Capitol. Basically, he's entitled because he's the biggest draw. He's the biggest draw on the site. So he's kind of entitled about it. He doesn't realize that he is very successful. He's making views, he's making money with his show. It works, it's good, he's great. He's gonna retire the critic and no one's gonna suffer for it. No. Problem is, he doesn't seem to realize what everyone else is going through. And all the other producers are the 12 districts of, like, to go with the Hunger Games comparison. There's the closer districts, which have some greater benefits, like District 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the big producers of the site. Then everybody else is on any of the other districts, depending on how popular depending on how popular they were. They were anywhere from District 4 or 5 to 12. And I think one of them was like 12. And later in the story, you're gonna see. Basically, it all depended, you know. Doug didn't realize, kind of like the people at the Capitol, didn't realize how bad the situation was in the district, and probably didn't care. Doug probably didn't know how bad the situation was for the producers underneath him, and he probably didn't care either, or he refused to see that. You know, he was entitled, basically. An entitled little shit. And no, I'm not pulling that back. I'm calling him a shit. I'm not sorry. Okay, and he's very boneheaded in his way of making movies too, because, again, he doesn't seem to realize what his actions do to the others. He doesn't seem to realize everything he does that is wrong. And it eventually blows back in his face. Like, you know how there's that brilliant scene in the Hunger Games. I think it's also in the books, but it's especially notable in the movie, where Katniss and Peeta are at the reception. I think is it on the first or in the, I think it's in the second movie, yeah. Not Catching Fire. I think, yeah, Catching Fire, yeah. Basically they're at this big reception where they've never seen that much food because everyone is starving in their district. And then they look at everyone from the Capitol who's just gorging themselves on food all the time, and even making themselves throw up later so they could eat more. That's what it feels like for Doug. He has all the views. He has so many of the views. He has so many subscribers. He doesn't seem to realize from the top of his tower that everyone else underneath him is either starving or having deep financial troubles or just suffering. And he doesn't care, you know? That's the idea. He doesn't care. Or he refuses to see the truth. Okay, I'm sorry. There's gonna be noise behind me from now on. I think my family is back from where they went. Okay, so we were never asked for our input on the movie scripts. There was a scene in the script where it implies Mekakara is raping, nostalgia chick off screen, and Chen Lewis had to fight with them on set to say they wouldn't do it as scripted. It's still in the movie, but slightly different. Doug did not understand that it came off as offensive. Okay. Live reading. Film Brain approaches the door, mug still in hand. Nostalgia chick, Linkara, there's a meeting downstairs. Loud, suggestive thuds beat through the walls. Power drill noises and squeak ensue, punctuated by chick squeals and moans. That's not how you describe someone being raped. No, oh no, don't put it in there, oh. Do not resist, submit. An embarrassed Chuck overcomes Film Brain's face. I'll just give you to a moment. He walks away with a shocked face. Chick, off screen. Oh my god, you're hard as metal. Doug Walker? Fuck you, Doug Walker. Fuck you. Yeah, they changed it for the final movie, but that's still bad. Oh, and the next scene afterwards. The crew is assembled. Film Brain returns, horrified. Film Brain, you look as if you heard two people having sex. How would you know that? I'm French. We know. Well, are they coming? Boy, that's a loaded question. What? Oh, I mean, no, they're getting busy, keeping busy with heterosexual extracurricular activities. Yeah, this is. I think I just cringed, like so badly. Okay, they were also fighting later, so a lot of this actually came out in 2015. A lot of that story. Some stuff about not being able to keep up the continuity while doing the movie, stuff like that. Some problems with management afterwards. Yeah, that too, yeah. There was even a bunch of the cast passed out on top of each other on the floor, so they called a bunch of them to the basement to film it and kept them there even when they were shooting. Eventually someone asked Ed if they were having a camera and he says no. It had Phelan's foot in one shot. One day was an 18-hour shoot, and the next day after 3 hours sleep we were asked to film the big party scene. They asked us to film 2 different endings despite being overscheduled and exhausted. Yeah. The green screen bit about with Phelan is also interesting. They want to film a green screen bit with Phelan. Phelan points out that they can film it at home. We're advented a whole little sleep and our heads barely hit the pillow and my phone rings. They want Phelan to shoot the green screen parts. He's the angriest I've ever seen him. Eventually they don't film the green screen part, and it's not in the film either. Not a single person wasn't miserable except Doug. Again, he's like the capital, while everyone else is a district. This actually works. This metaphor, it actually works. Wow. It works extremely well. It's incredible. The districts aren't killing each other for some kind of recognition, but yeah, this actually works. Wow. One shooting was done. Yeah, the 3D effects thing. Yeah. When Phelan finished an effect and sent it to Doug, Doug responds with love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. They asked Welshie to stealthily find out if Phelan was half-assing the effects. That was when that's Phelan. Phelan recounted the story when he left in 2015, so I knew about that. Uncanny Valley. This was done in 2013. I don't mention it because it's not as notable, but yeah. For the 50th, they asked Phelan producers if they could make a short film to be included in an anthology with an internet team. They offered no payment or resources at all, only the ability to post a short on their own channel in exchange for giving them the DVD rights. So basically, they were asking them to make a short film for them for free, and also to let them make money off of it. Phelan was asked and said no. Yes, perfect. A Spoonie incident. Okay, first of all, sending death threats to people, that's wrong. Don't ever do that. I don't get why some people online get so crazy about the producers they watch, about the people they watch, that they send death threats to anybody they consider a danger or something. This is just... Fuck the people who do that. Fuck them. Okay, Noah and Dwyler, etc., etc. Yeah, he leaves in 2012. Producer grievances. I think this was also mentioned, partly. They had a lot of ideas to improve the site, and pretty much none of them were taken. Bullet Fleet DVD. Yeah. The site revamp. Apparently when they revamped the site, what happened is they had so many new producers too that it was easy to get lost in the number of new people who were there. A lot of people just stopped watching because every producer's views tanked because there were just too many new people. They released it with a banner with Doug and all his characters, and also a beef from a 1-second joke in his Jurassic Park 3 video. Again, this is all about Doug. The management cares nothing for the others except Doug. We point out there's more producers than days of the week. Yeah, no shit. None of this matters because we know they won't do it, and indeed they don't. Okay, give me a second. Hey. Okay, One of our requests for ages was to have a page that listed who we were and what our videos were about, instead of a massive drop-down menu of just names and pages of links with no descriptions. This was promised, but never delivered. They set up an automatic scheduling system, which almost immediately breaks and was never fixed. Chicago crossover, this is when she decided to leave, I think. This is when she saw the big problems that put her into the big trouble that made her leave. Because they corner her in... Yeah, okay. Mike waits until everyone leaves and I'm alone to shut up and talk, sit to corner me and ask me why I have so many mid-rolls on my videos. I tell him to make enough money to live. He says my use of mid-rolls are causing people to put on ad block and affecting their revenue. Yeah, their revenue was done because he killed off their flagship show and stuck a bunch of money into a useless game show. He tells me people were complaining in the comments and he left the mean ones up as a hint to me. Cause, you know, hanging on the dirty laundry out in the public is so much better than keeping it between the people that are involved in it. You know. He also lies and tells me other producers were complaining to him, which the others confirmed was not true. Okay, so yeah. She eventually leaves after Patreon comes up and... Yeah, okay. I asked Mike why it wasn't there, and he tells me they won't link to crowdfunding campaigns or e-begging. It's not begging if you do nothing with the money. It's not begging if you do something with the money. I mean, it's not e-begging if you're genuinely being paid for what you're doing. If it's like a payment for the thing you're doing online. Swade makes a video weighing the pros and cons of Patreon, and they do not allow him to post it. After word gets out and people guild them, they say we can do a bumper for Patreon on our videos. After I make one, they randomly tell us they have to be 30 seconds long. I posted my minute-long video anyway because they never watch the content and don't notice. So yeah, they explain how she got fired. This is the quickest they'd ever updated anything. For the record, only quicker was when everyone left, like in the recent days. I think within minutes of Linkara revealing that he was leaving, his entire archive on the site was gone. Completely gone. Okay, Kaylin Saucedo. I hope I'm spelling this right. Unfortunately, I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Other minor irritations and moments of hurt feelings have come up besides what is listed in these bullet points. However, to list those would likely be too many and too petty for this document. These are the biggest problem I ran into directly in my 9 years with Channel Awesome. Sorry. Early unfulfilled payment promises. Yeah, they mistitled her videos. A lot of this stuff did not actually come out in 2015 because basically it was mostly involving Phelan and Allison, and we just came out of that portion. But yeah, she still tells pretty worrisome stories, like early unfulfilled payment promises is about how she was never paid. Again, exposure! Because, you know, that's so good in the exposure, right? I just need 137 exposures to buy me a cup of Pepsi. To buy a can of Pepsi. The mistitling of videos. Yeah, they were just not watching the videos that were given. The higher-ups at Channel Awesome were not interested in watching the videos their producers were making. That's really bad. And so since they had control over the titling of the videos, the titling of the description of the video, ultimately that's what was going on. They were mistitling some videos, and frequently, apparently. The perceived rivalry, pardon me, The rivalry with Screw Attack. Yeah, that's the thing though. Screw Attack, and it's weird because Doug actually had crossovers with James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd of Screw Attack. And this went well, so why were they afraid of losing people? Of having producers move to Screw Attack? Maybe because they knew they were bullshitting their own employees that were never actually employed, and were afraid that they'd just jump ship. But, you know, obviously that doesn't mean they had to improve, right? In 2010, Gaming Convention as a general staff member. My decision to distance myself from others during my time as a contributor. Yeah, I think Kaylin Saucedo was not frequently doing crossovers with others, but she was in the 3 anniversary specials, the 3 big anniversary special movies. I don't really count The Brawl as an anniversary movie. It's an anniversary, but it's not a movie. To me, it's like 3 anniversary movies. Kikessia, Suburban Nights, and To Boldly Flee. The first Brawl was just a brawl. It was like 40 minutes at most. And the other thing, The Uncanny Valley, yeah, it was it was a collection of shorts, basically. Making costumes for anniversary films. Many of us were expected to make our own costumes for anniversary films, myself included. Problem is, they had to make their own costumes, and they either had to pay to make them, or they could have Channel Awesome pay for them, on the condition that Channel Awesome kept them. Why? Every person working on these anniversary movies was going to custom make their costume to fit them. So Channel Awesome had no business in keeping those costumes. They were custom made for the people wearing them. The depth was a nostalgia critic, yeah. We paid for our own meals, yeah. Thing is, again, Doug had no idea what the others were feeling. Doug felt like this was the end of an era of the online reviewers, and so he was playing this big out for his character and hoping the others would also find their big finale, basically. Problem with this being that all of the others were not making a living with the nostalgic with their show. Many of them actually wanted to keep making stuff, and yeah, all in all, again, it was Doug completely ignoring what the situations of others and only making decisions based on what he is living through. Forgotten during filming, okay. More mislabeled videos and videos not hitting social media. Leaving Channel Awesome. Yeah. Waiting a single hour of my removing myself from the group chat. All of my content had been removed from the site. Unlike previous contributors who had received pleasant farewell messages from the administrators, no such farewell message was delivered to me, a contributor who had been there longer than 90% of their team, and had been in every single anniversary movie. This was also how others were treated who were there either as long as me or a little longer than me, such as Inkara and Suede. Yeah. Okay, Holly Brown. This is one of the most serious parts of the entire document, and it's a very serious document overall, but it's even more important because Holly Brown is not as much as a producer as she is the human relations / public relations person on the site. Or rather, she was, until she got fired. And it just shows how boneheaded the people at Channel Awesome were every time they had to do with anything regarding public relations. I was HR for the company. They barely listened to me. 5% of the time maybe? That's probably generous. Mike Michaud is not the sole owner of CA, but does own the NCIP. Okay? Mike Ellis was the one who originally built the site. I believe he did site updates. He did most of the day-to-day operations. None of us had any clue what Michaud did. AKA, it's entirely possible he just sat on his ass and played games all day. And sometimes dealt with the producer's question. They never understood social media. They were happy with the little corner of the internet. That's why Punkival ran the official Twitter for so long. They didn't think we needed social. Even looking now, you can see they don't get it. The site lost a bunch of stuff in 2010 or 2011 because it only existed on a single drive. The fuck? That's stupid. Bar Fiesta, I'm not gonna explain much there because I was not aware of that until recently. But yeah, long story short, they were just visiting like breweries and microbreweries and bars and having fun that way and like some kind of got serious about this, but unfortunately, pardon me, a lot of viewers of the Nostalgia Critic were like teenagers, or you know, not old enough for booze yet. So this didn't have a lot of ground to exist, unfortunately. Could it have been done well? Probably. It could have been a very interesting show. Not for Channel Awesome, however. I could see this being done on YouTube, like promoting breweries around like Chicago and other places. That could work, but not with Channel Awesome. Okay. Mike Ellis was upset that I would not pursue a relationship with him. He was married. This is the guy who is married, and in a previous meeting there was nearly a fist fight between him and Michaud. I'm sad that I probably threw away the handwritten notes that were taken when Ellis was threatening to fire me. There were some real gems in there. Okay, Mike Ellis is mentioned earlier as being extremely misogynistic. Similar to... he was probably even worse than Mike Michaud in that regard. Also, I'd like to note, he was married. So, he was married at the time. He may still be. Maybe he isn't anymore though. We don't know. We don't know. But I really hope it's because he's gone through a bad divorce. I hope. Also, he was upset that I would not pursue a relationship with him. AKA, he absolutely wanted to cheat on his wife with Holly. And Holly said no. And so he was angry. Mike Ellis got fired and C put me in a safe house for a few days because they were concerned he would come after me. Nothing was more strange than being escorted to my house with a group of guys with baseball bats and a sword so I could pack. Baseball bats and a sword. Really, I think it's Frederick Knudsen of, what's the name again? I forget it. Down the Rabbit Hole, who mentioned, no one of them was packing heat. None of them had guns. It's so easy to get a gun in America, it's insane. That could have solved the problem, but apparently no. We all got pepper spray after that. To inject a bit of humor in the horror, I wish I could remember who carried the sword. I want to say Doug, but I'm pretty sure it belonged to Rob. On the other hand, I'm pretty sure it was Doug who tested the pepper spray by spraying it into the kitchen sink. It didn't go well. Yeah, apparently not. Oh, and then why she got fired. I came to work on Boldly Flee after surgery. The day I wasn't on set, I still gave them notes based on all the issues I heard about. After that, the only time I missed filming was when I had to go get the drain taken out of my abdomen. I don't think I ever received a final script to work from. I wasn't even informed about the last anniversary I was there for. That's why I only worked on Matt's project. I wasn't invited to the CA official one. I still don't have a copy of it. Okay, so as she says here, basically, She was fired because she had to absolutely undergo a surgery and couldn't do her work, which she had to do 7/7/24/24. She had to be always available, especially at night, especially in the evening, I mean. So she has her surgery, and then she has to drive to be told that nope, you're fired because you weren't there yesterday. She was undergoing surgery. I was not provided with the reason I was let go. You didn't need to because Illinois was an at-will state. Okay, I heard about that. It's like right to work, I think. So they can fire you if you just look at them funny. But yeah, that's some bullshit right there. You have America, you gotta work on that. You gotta do something to prevent that, because jobs are kind of important, and if it's too easy to get fired from jobs, that's not right. Oh, again, Doug was the deciding vote on my being employed. So what I'm seeing here is, like I said, Doug is a more nasty kind of bad. No, wait, that's not right. What I get from this is, like I said, Doug is the artistic side. When he's brought into management questions, ultimately he's gonna side with Rob and Mike, because that's his job hinges on that. Hinges on the management of General Awesome. So if he is brought in to take a stance on any situation, he's gonna side with his bosses, you know? And that's the sad part. He is deciding, whenever he's the deciding vote on something, he's gonna vote for what his bosses have voted for. That's the sad truth there. Joining the site and linked reality. Yeah, okay, this is a Linkara section. This is getting pretty long, so I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna go a little quicker now, because a lot of that was known or is not as important. I'm gonna go to the really important sections now. Moderator mismanagement, the mass exodus. Like I said, a lot of people left all at once. Yeah, okay. In the wake of what had happened, I knew there was a general feeling that the site was no longer in its glory days, and the more optimistic sense of togetherness the site had engendered was going away. That's the really sad part about the Channel Awesome. Once the producers started going their separate ways, things got sad. Things got, unfortunately, you know, when you felt like they weren't a family anymore, that was it. You had a hunch they weren't a family anymore. And it's sad because when you watch Suburban Nights, when you watch Kikassia, you can tell there's still disgruntled employees working for Doug. When you watch Suburban Nights, you can tell they're growing into friends. When you watch The Boldly Flee, by the end they're like a family. They're all friends. I mean, they don't like Nostalgia Critical that much, but you can tell the spirit of family in the group. So it's particularly heartbreaking to hear this that had happened. The optimistic sense of togetherness was going away. Of course it was. So, you know, Linkara always tried to salvage some things here and there, because no, Linkara is a good guy. Lewis Lavog, he's nice. He's a nice dude. Yeah. He tried to get things to work. He tried to help. Unfortunately, there's only so much he could do. He was still an employee. Again, not technically an employee because he hadn't signed contracts, I think. William Dufresne, Suede. Go check him out on YouTube. Great guy, great videos. He doesn't have a lot to say, but still, some pretty interesting stuff. Sorry, I thought there was somebody at home. Okay. So yeah, he mentions the whole thing of people wanting water and food on set during suburban nights. To bodily flee. Sorry. The majority of the producers were upset and got together over several drafts to put forward a list of grievances and suggestions. Both this list and the reactions are available elsewhere, but suffice it to say, apart from spotlighting producers on the site, almost all of it was ignored. Yeah, he made his Patreon video, and yep. Okay, Jacob Japan, Yasu Otaku, who played as Edward in the movie. His section is not really that important, but to be honest, I think Jacob Chapman at the time was a pretty nasty person. I won't let my thoughts on that. But yeah, he caused quite a ruckus after leaving, especially when the mass exodus happened shortly after he left. And basically, he took every opportunity afterwards to blast the CA management. With good reason, as this document reveals. But yeah. Benjamin Daniel, Benzai, which I've mentioned earlier. His girlfriend apparently did art for the DVDs, and then Channel Awesome thought they had the rights to that art. In other words, they weren't gonna pay her for it. You know, because that's how it works. Chaos D1, again, not much going on there. It's not a big story, but basically he says Channel Awesome had a lot of problem in keeping up with their rule of having every producer release at least one video a month, and they had like that one strike thing, especially when they moved to 2 videos per month. Okay, and Chaos D1. Offending Twitter post. My first only interaction with Doug was massive cameo scene. Okay, oh, Dr. Gonzo. This is a very, very important section. Basically, he thoroughly hated his experience on Channel Awesome because he was constantly singled out and left alone in his corner, while everyone else was grouping or having cameos with each other and stuff. Dr. Gonzo of Nerd to the Third Power, when he describes his situation with Channel Awesome, basically he says that Mike Michaud particularly hated him and constantly left him aside. Like, yeah. If Channel Awesome had a book or Genesis, I was there to see it written. I was one of the first contributors brought onto the site based on my Gaming Hall of Fame blogs. So yeah, he thought he had a lot of friends. When things went to hell for me, I began to notice the member of the community who I had been friends with before, blah 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 blah. They kept producing the show, but it was never pushed forward. Okay, and in fact, Michaud would constantly have negative criticism towards the guy, towards Dr. Gonzo, and the show Nerd to the Third Power. I'll admit I didn't go and watch those. I probably should have in hindsight. So yeah, everything went wrong. Okay, this extremely important part. And this will make you go, fuck you, Michaud. The Justin Carmichael tribute and the straw that rode the camel's back. Yeah, like I said earlier, in January of 2014, Justin Juwario Carmichael died by self-inflicted gunshot. Carmichael was a much loved and respected member of the community. I personally didn't know him very well, again, because nobody was willing to talk to me. But I thought that it would be a nice thing to do, a kind of gentle, a kind of online wake, where we would bring everyone together who wanted to be there to say a few words about Justin. I didn't see anyone else talking about the idea, so I approached Michaud with the idea. In a rather, in hindsight, out of character moment, he got back to me immediately, and I presented him with the idea, and he said, "Well, you're not gonna have to worry about that, Gonzo." So my first thought is, he's already got something planned. Then he follows that up with, "Nobody knows who you are. They won't care about anything you're gonna put together. We're gonna have Doug or Lewis or someone put something together. people actually come here to see. Precisely. So yeah, the reading between the lines, what Mike Michaud is saying, we're gonna have someone popular do the tribute to Rio, because that's gonna mean a lot of views. That's gonna be pushing the brand of Channel Awesome by having people go, oh, that's a tribute video. Wait, who is someone dead? What happened? Oh my god. Oh, and what's that site they were on? And of course, clicks meant ad revenue. So basically, Mike Michaud didn't care for a tribute to a dead friend, a guy who was a friend of everybody on the site, and who died, who killed himself, and he didn't care about seeing a tribute made for the guy, unless he could make money from it. So yeah, when transferred to Channel Awesome, he left. Our final note, okay. So you know it's a really dark section. I invite you to go read the full document. I'm skimming a lot now. Leon Thomas, the biggest thing he talks about is when he was making a new series called Renegade Cut, and Doug made a rebuttal video, which, you know, I guess that is pretty bad. It's Doug should have asked first. Oh, Sean Falls. Yeah, epic fail. The epic fail guy. Okay, so yeah, this is gonna be very uncomfortable. He's basically saying that he was frequently in Skype calls with a lot of people, especially Michaud, Bargo, Ellis, Aussie, and Rollo T, I guess. That Aussie guy. Oh, this is gonna be very uncomfortable. One night in particular, after a call, Ellis kept messaging me afterwards on Skype. This wasn't unusual. We usually just BS about stuff. However, I was supposedly intoxicated. I say supposedly, because that's the excuse I heard later. But he was typing very coherently. That one misspelled word during our conversation. What started as a simple enough conversation quickly became a very uncomfortable one. He kept asking more personal details, eventually going full into, oh, I heard from a little birdie that you were gay. Oh, I heard you were at least bi. Oh, so you're just curious about guys then. Really pushing, as if he was fishing for something. Maybe he was desperate. And let me remind you, Mike Ellis is the guy who was married, who harassed Holly Brown because she wouldn't go have a relationship with him. So he comes across as a pretty bad douchebag. The conversation turned one-sided and even more uncomfortable as he went on telling me all the things he wanted to do to me, the things he wanted me to do to him. Just give him a shot, he said. This went on for 2 hours. For these 2 hours I typed not one word to him, but he had this entire conversation with himself, and multiple times tried the whole, sorry, I didn't mean to scare you off tactic on me, as if it was going to make things better. I showed this conversation log to 2 people. I believe I showed part of it to Rollo T because I was freaked the fuck out and he was the guy I trusted the most, and I remember him being completely blown away. The other person I showed was Michaud. The only thing I ever heard from Michaud was, damn it, I told him he couldn't be doing this shit. I'll take care of it. I told him he couldn't be doing this shit. I'll take care of it. Gulp. So yeah, chances are it's not the first time he does that stuff. He kept calling me his sexual cupcake. What the fuck is that? After those hours of him talking to himself, he finally gave up talking to me. But he did make one last ditch effort to hit on me, and it was by far the worst pickup line I've ever been given. Hey, 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 hey Sean, hey Cupcake, you like Seinfeld? You like jazz? No, I do not. Beth Elderkin, okay, what strikes me about Beth Elderkin is really that she's so nice about all of this, but you can tell she's basically, she does have gripes about the company, but she's being inordinately nice to them. It's almost a surprise that she's staying this nice, because she's really yeah, she raised good points, but ultimately her story, she keeps a very positive tone about it, and I understand why, but at the same time, you can tell she had as many reasons to live as the others. I share the story not to shame but to educate. In the gig economy, we're tempted, coerced, and sometimes even forced to learn our value in order to get by. You're worth more than that. As was I. Cifera talks about the wikis and the blogs. Full Fantastic, Topher Ames talks about apparently when he was in Channel Awesome as a writer, and then as a video maker. Let's see. He was finally accepting his homosexuality, which is a very, very tough experience, and that I'm sure of. Look, I'm not gay, but I'm pretty sure coming to terms with your actual sexual orientation must be very difficult. A very big, very difficult time, yeah. And something you need some time to get used to at first. Especially in the United States, where a lot of people are still very homophobic. Especially, like he says, in a town of only 5,000 people in rural Illinois. It's a scary experience. Unfortunately, he only received support from Holly, and nobody else cared. Rob and Mike took him out of the site as soon as they noticed he had stopped making videos, even though he told them why he had stopped making videos. So yeah, that's that. And America, that's interesting, but you should read this on your own. Doug and only Doug. That's what I'm saying. Doug is entitled because he's the face of the site, and as a result, that makes him the teacher's pet, you could say. Obviously, because Rob is part of the management team, and Mike Michaud owns the Nostalgia Critic IP, so everything eventually revolves around Doug as the talent. And that's the problem. Channel Awesome cares about nobody else. Again, like I said, it's like the Capitol cares only about the people of the Capitol, and fuck the people from the districts. You know, the more I think about this, the more this metaphor actually works. Wow. It works, it really does. Wow. So yeah, stuff like that. Tom White. I don't remember what he was doing. But yeah, he had a video game music contest and stuff didn't work. My booting. Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff there actually. Lindsay Ellis. She doesn't have a lot to say there, but yeah. Basically, she had talent, she had film knowledge, she knew what was important when making a movie, and nobody from the site, or most of the higher ups from the site, didn't give a shit about that. They thought she was like acting superior to them. She thought she was like elitist or something, but no, she was just trying to say basic shit about what it's like to direct a movie or or making videos. Apparently no, that's not enough. Apparently no, that was enough to hate on her, you know? The fact that when I tried to give advice or make suggestions, it was met with disdain. This was not limited to Michaud and the Walkers. There was definitely an atmosphere that viewed any sort of experience or knowledge of how film sets work as a sort of elitism, in a perverse way, an anti-intellectual streak. The project I most regret was To Boldly Flee. We've gone over that. Yeah. Oh yeah. During this time, there was also a streak of harassment against female contributors. The worst case that involved me resulted in an extended case with the NYPD. This was not the only incidence of harassment that went unremarked upon by CA. There was a rash of harassment against CA producers between 2013 and 2014, mostly women, which was never acknowledged or condemned by CA. Again, nobody cared about the women on the site. Mike Michaud didn't care, Rob didn't care. They thought it was none of their business to call out like harassment. Nope. Okay, so I'm talking, so there's that. 8chan, yeah, you're gonna go read that part yourself, okay? There, Anonymous 1, that's the woman who explains how she was sexually groomed by one of the guys on the site. Guys on the site or one of the management, it's never made clear. The idea is that they kept both the person saying the account and the person she's calling out both as anonymous as possible, and it's perfectly understandable because that would be very, very big a very, very big crap, words don't fail me now, big accusations, yeah, basically. So yeah, she was sexual groomed. Physically I was 18 but had a mind of a 16-year-old at best. That's the scary part here. Like, okay, oh, she was legal, she was 18. Yeah, but she wasn't yet at that point where she knew all that was going on. And that's why she was taken advantage of. And that's the creepy part here. I genuinely thought he was being an impassionate teacher. Yeah. Anonymous 2, slightly less bad, but still pretty bad. This person was making a lot of pictures for the site, a lot of title cards, and also a lot of art in general. And well, that was not gigantic, but still pretty important. Iron Liz. Okay, this part has been added like yesterday, I think. Yeah, yesterday, indeed. Basically, she was a producer on the website when she was dating Linkara, but also a production assistant for Suburban Nights. In other words, she didn't sign any contracts. I'm gonna let you guys read that one, but it's big, it's important. Look, it's like 3 pages. She had a lot to say. She was on Suburban Nights, basically helping with sets and stuff, items and food. And yeah, as mentioned earlier, she got hurt pretty badly during a scene. And basically she had no downtime during her entire time spent there. Because, yeah, that, and she was never treated as anything more than an employee, but non-employee, more like a slave. And it's horrifying. And yeah, when she got hurt, they tried to make her sign a contract that would make them not liable to that. Because that would make them not liable to that, or not responsible for what happened. But yeah, she doesn't remember if she signed or not. What she does know, however, is that, yeah, this was not great. This was not a good experience. There's also Leslie Rice, whom I don't remember much about. I don't remember, but yeah. Yeah, she has some stuff. It's a lot of things that were already discussed earlier. Fan document. In the interest of transparency, we have removed the link to the fan document. We would like all information we support to be verified. Due to the extra attention received, more stories are coming out and we don't have any way of verifying fan submissions. Because of this, we cannot in good conscience continue to link to a living document. Okay, so I contributed to the fan document. I told my story there. It's there. It's a, just look for Nicholas. if you can find the fan document, that is. Problem being, eventually, I came back to the fan document once in a while to check for story that happened in it. Eventually, I realized that a lot of people sending their stories to the document had gripes about the site, but especially about producers. This was not about attacking the management, it was about attacking anybody they could attack. Like Brad Jones or Brendel Floss, who cameoed in some episodes of Nostalgia Critic. Pardon me. It's and it frequently delved into pretty dark stuff too. I'm not gonna tell some of the stories there, but ultimately it's a good idea that they removed the fan document as link from this Google document of Not So Awesome, because yeah, things were getting pretty nasty in that one, unfortunately. Because, you know, if we fans have stories to tell about Doug Walker, Rob Walker, or Mike Michaud, on the off chance we had any kind of deal with Channel Awesome, ultimately we should have kept it to those three guys. And, you know, not everyone has a bad experience with Doug Walker, not everyone has had a bad experience with Rob. Obviously it was just to share experiences, many of which were not that good. How can I explain this, basically? How could I... Yeah, but following this, I actually said that there had to be some more moderation work done to prevent that kind of story from being released in the fan document, because not only do we don't have proof, but we can't even, like, state, excuse me, I'm looking for my words, like, there was nowhere to prove what fans were saying. I'm sticking to my story, because if you look hard enough, you can actually find me talking about it on the Channel Awesome forums, which are not entirely out of the blame, apparently, for some of the harassment stories earlier. But that's a different story, okay? I can't really speak on that matter. I don't know. Some stuff happened, especially in 2014. I don't think I can reasonably explain this. I was already slightly more out of it by 2014. I think I really stopped visiting the forums in 2016, and I started watching them again in 2018 when this whole document came out. Anyway, yeah, there's that. Conclusion: the above stories were written to the best of our personal knowledge and recollection. Our belief is that Channel Awesome CEO Mike Michaud has not had the best interest of anyone but himself in mind in the management of the company, and that Doug and Rob Walker have also done little to show that they are concerned with the rest of the contributors that have been partnered with Channel Awesome. This. Okay, for the record, after this document came out, first of all, the movement channel, Change the Channel, was born. Before that, I think. It was born before that, but we were waiting on the document first. And now that the document is out, it's been blowing up immensely. There have been actual articles from journalistic sources online talking about this. It's become big. And it's led to people unsubscribing en masse from the Channel Awesome YouTube channel, yeah. Like, I mean, almost 5,000 unsubscriptions, 5,000 people nearly per day removing the subscriptions from Channel Awesome. This is gigantic. I mean, it's small when you realize that it's just like a very, very small amount on a million, because they have 1 million subscribers. It's really not that huge in hindsight, but remove 5,000 every day, eventually it's going to be noticeable. Could take a year before they fall to zero, but you know, it's eventually going to fall down even more. Okay, so yeah, this part here, the real thing that strikes me, you know, when I said that there was really no public relation talent at Channel Awesome, they proved it after the release of this document. When they started feeling that things were going wrong, they wrote an actual apology. And I don't have it on my end. However, I can basically tell you what it said. It said, "We're sorry you felt that way." You know, it's wait, I'm gonna look for it. Okay, let's see. Non-apology. There it is. Okay, whoa, 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 whoa. We wanted the moment to clear the air. Channel Awesome is an organization that respects our producer partners and strives to create the best possible environment for everyone. We welcome a diverse community of people joining together to create great videos. Okay. For the people who have spoken out about past instances deemed hurtful or unprofessional, we sincerely regret you felt that way. AKA, it's your fault you feel that way, but we're not to blame. Blah blah blah. When the need arose, we have distanced ourselves from people who were particularly callous, letting go of significant stakeholders in the interest of keeping our mission to the forefront. Yeah, aka, yeah, we got rid of Mike Ellis. What? It was the right thing to do, no? That's one guy. It's okay. It's okay. We're gonna keep the other callous guy, Mike Michaud. He's okay. He's fine. He's perfectly fine. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's Mike Michaud who wrote this. That dickhead. We appreciate and hear the frustrations of past producers. Oh yeah, we're happy that they're angry. We appreciate and hear the frustrations. If they said like, we are listening to the frustrations of past producers and shall take inspiration from them to improve in the future. No, we're like, because they aren't actually, they hear what's going on Twitter. They know change the channel is a thing now. And unfortunately, they haven't read the fucking document. It's clear they haven't. We're actively taking internal steps to better improve communication with our producers so they can be focused on putting out the great content. And we're open to constructive criticism. Oh really? The kind that can help us become even better and serve the needs of our community. What they're basically saying here is, you guys have criticism, but it's not constructive, so we're not gonna follow what you're saying. Criticism that isn't a means to a productive end does little for either the party criticizing or those in the line of fire. Our focus now is on moving forward with the wonderful team we have and our dedicated followers. They're losing 5,000 followers a day, and the wonderful team has been whittling down. They were at like 25 producers before Change the Channel came up, and now they're at like 13. Yeah. We thank our content creators, team, and fans for truly making our channel awesome. Here's to creating something even better in the future. Yeah, okay. What I'm going to do next is address to Mike Michaud and Rob Walker and potentially Doug too. Fuck you, Mike Michaud. Fuck you, Rob Walker. Fuck you, Doug Walker. There. And this is a non-apology, and you should be ashamed of this. This is not good PR. On the contrary, it's the worst PR possible. In fact, were it not for that fucking apology, a lot of people wouldn't be leaving right now. A lot of people have left Channel Awesome. I think like 7 people left only yesterday. Most of them left because of this. Because of this non-apology. I'm not kidding. It's really that bad. And you know what? It's good. It's perfect that people are leaving Channel Awesome. They don't seem to be learning their lesson from this though. But people are leaving Channel Awesome, and I sincerely encourage you all to follow these people. Look for who is on Channel Awesome right now. Follow them. Watch their stuff. Find their page on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook maybe even. Find their Patreon. Send some money that way if you can. Like, I get it. You're pretty tight on money. Just pick your favorite producers and just send a dollar or two. They're gonna be fine with that. Any dollar can help. That's the beauty of Patreon. And yeah, CA is crumbling down, and I'm very happy for that because I haven't had any trust on the site for 3 years now. Doug Walker needs to get off his high pedestal. He needs to realize what the situation is. He needs to get out of his Doug world. He needs to be like the people of the capital who are finally thrown into the war because the districts are rebelling. Wow, this works even better than I thought. Wow. I keep making the reference to that, but it works. It really does work. Wow. And he needs to face the reality that things suck right now. Rob Walker needs to get the stick out of his ass. He needs to get off his high horse, or just he needs to quit. Like, fuck you and the horse you rode in on, my friend. My not friend. Fuck you, Rob Walker. As for Mike Michaud, resign. Just resign. Give the I don't know what you're gonna do with the IP of the Nostalgia Critic, but you know, resign. I'm pretty sure Doug will do better job without you. I'm pretty sure Doug. Okay, he's not gonna do that good of a job clearly, cause he's too oblivious. But you know, I think Channel Awesome, even in its sorry state, can do without Mike Michaud, because clearly he's been one of the major driving forces behind everybody leaving. Doug was another force, but mostly Michaud, you know? Especially Michaud and Rob and Doug. Yeah, I mean, all 3 were bad, but Michaud is like the shittiest guy of the bunch. So yeah, that's for the apology. State of C. On the leaving producers, like I said, find them on YouTube, Patreon, Twitter, Facebook, etc. Look for them anywhere else, but do not use Channel Awesome. Do not. Never come back to that website. Never. It's bad. It's bad. And yeah, and it's particularly sad because a lot of producers joined in 2014, which was not that long ago. It was maybe 3.5 years ago. They weren't on Channel Awesome for that long, but they have their own pages, their own YouTube, their own Patreon. Many of them have Patreon. Yeah, not all of them, but I think most. You don't need Channel Awesome to push them either. Recently, Alison Prager released a document in which they were keeping track of all the ways to contact producers who have left the site and people who are still on it, as a way to show that, you know, you don't need to stay on Channel Awesome. You can just go and follow these people where they are. And that's really the lesson to take here. Screw Channel Awesome, that site can die, and now we're all better off, everyone's better off without it. And I think this is gonna be all for today. I'm gonna stop there from now. This was my first time actually speaking this openly to the camera. Making this kind of stream actually. I hope this went well. If it can allow me to improve my style and just generally improve my talent in making videos and making streams like this, I think I think it would be much appreciated. Like if I start playing games like this with myself showing, I think that would be a lot of fun. I just need to learn to use this, and I've been pretty leery about using OBS because I don't know the software all that well, and especially because I don't stream on Twitch too often. I stream when I can, that's the thing. And also there's always stuff going on behind me because I live like right next to the living room in the house. And so there's noise coming out from there. So yeah, eventually I'm gonna improve on OBS and I'm going to keep streaming myself playing games. My site is still going on, it's planned all along. I've written 2 articles about change the channel. Mostly a big article about the situation and the secondary article, an update on the situation. Go check that out as well. And on this I guess I can just say goodbye from now. So bye.